with Angelo Castro III and Darlene Basingan.
Good evening. President Rodrigo Duterte claims a double talking of the Western world prompted him to shift his support to China and Russia. Rosalie Cos will tell us why.
They do not complain when powerful nations bomb civilians or create weapons of mass destructions to take over other nations. This was the statement of President Rodrigo Duterte against the Western world during the exclusive interview of RT, a Russian international television network, before traveling to Russia.
There is so much incongruity in the principles that are being followed by nations. The powerful ones, they can invent this weapon of mass destruction. Oh, we can invade your country. Me, I never touch anybody. I do not even go to the United States. And then they criticize me for the criminals that I have killed.
He also criticized what he calls as double talking of the Western world, which made him shift his support to China and Russia.
But my foreign policy has shifted from what of that pro-Western. I now have this working alliance with China, and I hope to establish a good working relations with Russia. Why? Because Western world, EU and everything, they have this double talk.
Meanwhile, Franz Jessen, the head of the delegation of the European Union to the Philippines, says there is a unique pattern for those countries which have seen economic development throughout the years, like China and Vietnam. Human rights and economic freedom.
The growth in that country has been much faster than it was before, and the standard of living in both countries has improved dramatically over the last 3 decades, due to, I would argue, improvements in economic freedom and also in human rights.
However, Jessen also says the Philippines and EU have stronger relationship in trade and business because there is a 50% increase in Philippine exports to EU at the first quarter of 2017. Last week, the government refused to accept the grants offered by the European Union, particularly those with imposed conditionalities on human rights issues, which the Philippines claims as meddling with the country's internal affairs. President Duterte stands firm that the Philippines can endure even without the help of America and the EU.
Why would I allow it? Why would I allow you to treat me as if I am your representative here as a colonial governor? We are an independent country. We will survive. We will endure. We can go hungry. But this time, I want my country treated with dignity.
Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Buying arms in Russia is much better than in America, according to Philippine Ambassador to Russia, Carlos Soreta. Victor Cosare is in Moscow, Russia. Tell us why live. Yes, Victor, go ahead.
Diego, President Rodrigo Duterte will be witnessing the signing of several agreements during his official visit here in Russia. Among those is the agreement on defense and military cooperation. President Rodrigo Duterte was accorded military honors upon his arrival here in Russia past 11 o'clock last night local time. During his 4-day official visit, one agreement which will be signed by the Philippine and Russian government is on defense and military cooperation. Philippine Ambassador to Russia Carlos Soreta says in the agreement there would be exchanges of expertise between the two military organizations. The Philippines can also buy armaments from Russia. Soreta says buying arms in Russia would be a better choice.
There are no conditionalities. The arms will be sold. They trust us to use it properly. Russians don't have limitations. If you want to buy an attack helicopter, they will train you, then make sure you use it, you know how to use it, and they will sell it to you.
Arrangements are also being made so defense attaché offices can be put up in both countries. However, Soreta points out that the conduct of joint military exercise is not included in the agreement as Russia is not into it. Soreta adds putting up bases in the Philippines is not also an option as Russia does not want to show military presence in the region. The ambassador stresses that Russia is only into economic engagements in the Asia-Pacific region. One of the potential products that the Philippines could sell to Russia is banana, since they are importing $1 billion worth of bananas yearly.
Well, we really need to promote, for example, Ecuador, even though they already have 95% of $1 billion market, every few months they have a banana festival.
During President Duterte's visit here in Russia, with him are 260 Filipino businessmen from different industries who will be meeting with their Russian counterparts to discuss possible opportunities in the Philippines. However, the Department of Trade and Industry is not yet certain for now if how much investment deals will the president take home as negotiations are still ongoing. Diego, President Duterte has no official engagement for today, but his schedule is full from Wednesday up to Friday. He will be meeting Russian Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev and also Russian President Vladimir Putin. And that's the latest from our end here in Moscow, Russia. Back to you, Diego.
Thank you, Victor Cosare, reporting live from Moscow, Russia. More than 50 people have been injured in the recent bombing incident in Ariana Grande's U.S. concert in Manchester, England. Jovic Bermas will tell us why.
Chief Constable Ian Hopkins on Tuesday confirmed 22 people had been killed in the blast at Manchester Arena. Among the fatalities was the attacker.
We have been treating this as a terrorist incident, and we believe at this stage the attack last night was conducted by one man. The priority is to establish whether he was acting alone or as part of a network. The attacker, I can confirm, died at the arena. We believe the attacker was carrying an improvised explosive device which he detonated, causing this atrocity.
The incident happened at the end of a concert by U.S. singer Ariana Grande. Witnesses reported that there were children at the concert.
We ran straight out the doors all the way down to the hotel, and all I could hear was screaming, people crying, everyone was just running everywhere. It was completely madness.
There was one girl, diagonal, wasn't there?
She tumbled.
She tumbled from over the seats, and then we made our way out, and there were lost shoes and lost phones.
Hopkins said their priority is to work with the National Counter-Terrorist Policing Network and UK intelligence services to establish more details about the individual who carried out this attack and asked the public to cooperate.
It is important that we all continue to remain vigilant, but that we go about our daily lives. We would ask members of the public to be alert and report any suspicious activity to the police anti-terror hotline.
For her part, singer Ariana Grande expressed her apology on Twitter, saying she was saddened by the incident and offered apologies to her fans. Jovic Bermas, UNTV News and Rescue, London, United Kingdom.
In line with that report, the Department of Foreign Affairs has said they are still waiting reports as to whether there are Filipino victims in the incident. DFA spokesperson Robespierre Bolivar said they are continuously monitoring the welfare of our compatriots in the city. Authorities advise Filipinos to be vigilant and keep away from crowded places where security level is still heightened. Pop singer Ariana Grande's world tour has been suspended following the fatal bombing in a recent concert in the United Kingdom. Grace Casin will tell us why.
Pop singer Ariana Grande postpones her world tour until June after the tragic incident that took place during her recent concert in England. This has been the announcement of a source close to Ariana, according to the entertainment media TMZ.com. It remains unclear whether her series of concerts in August will push through. The Philippines is one of the countries where Rihanna will hold a concert in August. Supporters of the singer have expressed their support to her, saying she has to remain strong. Meanwhile, as early as now, the PNP has called on the organizer of the Ariana Grande concert in the Philippines to coordinate with Filipino authorities at once. PNP PAO Chief Police Chief Superintendent Leonardo Carlos says the police have to inspect the venue of the concert for possible security adjustments they have to implement.
So, ang importante dyan is the coordination so we can secure the event. Hindi yung last minute saka sila magsasabi. And they don't want to change the arrangement already pag may nakikita tayo.
Before the Ariana Grande's concert in the country on August 21, pop singer Britney Spears will also hold a concert here on June 15. The PNP assures the public that it's prepared to provide security for any international events or concert that will be held in the country. Grace Cassin, UNTV News and Rescue, Camp Crame.
The House Justice Subcommittee approves the substitute bill that opposes the proposal to lower the age of criminal liability. Joyce Balancho will tell us why.
Rather than lowering the age of criminal responsibility, children in conflict with the law should instead be advised to submit themselves to the intervention programs of the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD. This is part of the bill that the technical working group assigned to this issue has come up with, in which the DSWD should be tasked with putting up Bahay Pangarap in communities. The Bahay Pangarap will focus on troublesome children involved in crimes. The bill also calls for the government to give counseling to parents and impose necessary penalties on those who will deliberately not attend the sessions. Personalities who will be found guilty of using children in criminal activities shall face more severe penalties, such as life imprisonment, depending on the crime committed. On the other hand, Buhay Party List Representative Lito Atienza also proposes stiffer penalties to be imposed on parents and not just have them undergo counseling.
At the proper time, we would introduce an amendment to that to make sure that the parents gets the most penalty out of all of these problems of society. Wala na pong mas mahigit pang merong kakayahan na mag-control ng mga bata, as we consider them children, except the parents.
Bayan Muna Party List Representative Carlos Zarate abstained from voting on the substitute bill, believing that there is no assurance on the availability of funds for the implementation of the provisions of the proposed bill. Conversely, the Independent Minority Bloc and the Gabriela Party List expressed support on the substitute bill.
And it is disadvantageous to children and to the community that the age of culpability should be reduced from 15 to 9. It is a retrogressive measure which should not see the light of day.
The bill is now expected to be forwarded to the House Justice Committee for more discussion and debates. Joyce Balancho, UNTV News and Rescue, House of Representatives.
A road safety expert believes a careful study for the implementing rules and regulations is necessary before the implementation of the anti-distracted driving law. Rosalie Cos will tell us why.
Ang sinasabi ng batas, bawal humawak ng communication equipment habang ang sasakyan ay tumatakbo, in motion. At momentarily stop at the stoplight. Momentarily lang naman pala sinasabi. Anong interpretasyon niya ng momentarily? Saglit. Kung nakababad ka na ng 5 minuto sa stoplight, saglit pa ba yun?
Or sa traffic?
Sa traffic. Nanganga ka na nga sa traffic, hindi mo pwedeng gamitin.
This is one of the reasons why the Global Road Safety Partnership Secretary General Alberto Swansing also agrees with careful study of the implementing rules and regulations before implementing the anti-distracted driving law.
Yun lang ang craft na IRR. Yun ang dapat ipalis, no? Para tumutono doon sa batas. Yung pagkakagawa rin ng IRR medyo magulo eh. Marami ka ng pinasok eh.
He also said for the anti-distracted driving law to be followed effectively, motorists should be able to understand first what the law is. Nothing should distract the driver from holding the steering wheel and looking at the road while the vehicle is in motion. Examples are the communication gadget like cell phones.
How do you make it effective? Yan ang dapat biyakin nila ang ulo nila kung paano na magagawa maging effective yung batas o mapatupad nila sa paanong paraan.
Some motorists became confused when the LTFRB implemented the Joint Administrative Order No. 2014-01 in line with the Anti-Distracted Driving Law. Other accessories, devices, and equipment such as stuffed toy, figurines, and others are prohibited at the field of view or dashboard of the driver. Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Those who will be found violating the anti-distracted driving law will not yet be apprehended in the coming days. Joyce Balancho will tell us why.
Various transport agencies have decided to defer the implementation of the anti-distracted driving law. In a statement, the Department of Transportation, o DOTR, Land Transportation Office or LTO, Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board or LTFRB, Metropolitan Manila Development Authority or MMDA, and the PNP Highway Patrol Group all heeded to the authors of the law, saying they should conduct first information dissemination before apprehending violators. All these after the hearing of the House Committee on Transportation that delved on the questionable implementation of the law. It was raised during the hearing that the implementers should clarify first the items used during driving that are banned under the law. Lawmakers mentioned that under the Anti-Distracted Driving Act, only mobile phones are not allowed. However, LTFRB explained that alongside this, they are also implementing a joint administrative order since 2014, banning also accessories in the car's dashboard. Due to confusion, lawmakers advised transport groups to suspend its apprehension of violators.
The available time, which is 6 months for the information, after which we could already implement the same. So that is the difference, sir.
Yeah, as far as the LTO is concerned, Mr. Chairman, we will subscribe to that.
Let this be of record that implementation of ADA shall continue, but apprehension is suspended. There's no such thing as suspension of apprehension. What we are just doing now is just for the full implementation of the law.
Even Senator Joseph Victor Ejercito filed a resolution in the Senate calling for a review of the implementing rules and regulations of the law. DOTR meanwhile said they will also be asking its technical working group to conduct a review of the implementing rules and regulations in coordination with the stakeholders. Once a new IRR is crafted, they will proceed immediately with the education campaign. Joyce Balancho, UNTV News and Rescue, House of Representatives.
The Department of Transportation is studying the possibility of transferring the management of the Metro Rail Transit to the Light Rail Transit Authority or LRTA. Nel Maribok will tell us why.
The Department of Transportation or DOTR wants to nullify the government's contract with the Busan Universal Rail Incorporated or BURI, the current maintenance provider of the Metro Rail Transit or MRT. This is due to what the DOTR claims as BURI's failure to enforce the conditions in the said contract. Transportation Undersecretary Cesar Chavez says BURI had overhauled only 2 train coaches so far. This is fewer than the supposedly 18 coaches the company should overhaul for this month. The Transportation Department is also facing problems in the operation of the MRT due to problems in MRT system parts needed to be replaced. Yusek Chavez says they will give BURI the chance to explain why the contract with them should not be terminated. During the hearing, the DOTR also announced its plan to transfer the management of the MRT to the government. This is why transport authorities are now studying the possibility of urging President Rodrigo Duterte to create an executive order for the transfer of the management of the MRT3 to the Light Rail Transit Authority or LRTA.
Yung MRT, kung halimbawa ilagay mo sa LRTA, katulad din ng Line 1 na ngayon ay nasa LRMC, yung MRT3 should be privatized.
This has been the solution the DOTR sees to fix the operation of the MRT and to avoid further glitches. Meanwhile, former MRT3 manager Alvi Tangcol was also present during the Senate hearing. He was asked by Senator Grace Poe about the graft complaint he filed before the Office of the Ombudsman last year against former DOTC Secretary Jun Abaya. The charges are in connection with the allegedly anomalous 3.7 billion MRT capacity expansion project deal. The deal contains the procurement of 48 Dalian trains which remain unusable until now. Vitangkol says someone benefited from the said project.
Mayroon po kami mga nakuhang komunikasyon sa pagitan po ni Mr. Antonio de Mesa at Mr. Eugene Rapanut at sila po ay nagdidiskusyon kung paano makukuha yung 5% na ibibigay sa mga opisyal ng DOTC.
The former MRT manager claims Rapanut introduced himself to him as a member of the Liberal Party Ilocos chapter. Former DOTC Chief June Abaya insisted in a previous Senate hearing that there was no corruption or anomalous transactions during his term as the Transportation Secretary. Meanwhile, Senator Paul wants to invite former DOTC Secretary Mar Rojas in the next probe.
So gusto natin malaman kay Secretary Rojas bakit niya pinabayaan na mag-lapse ang contract halimbawa ng Sumitomo at hindi niya pinayagan na magkaroon ng proper bidding.
Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Senate of the Philippines.
The newly appointed chairman of the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority vows to address the corruption allegedly happening in the agency as ordered by President Rodrigo Duterte. Joanano will tell us why.
Corruption and the lack of discipline in the agency. These are the priorities of retired General Danilo Lim as he assumes post as the new MMDA chief. Lim says it has been President Rodrigo Duterte's marching orders to him.
Paulit-ulit na sinabi niya sa akin, linisin mo yung ahensya. Siguro may mga alam siya na may mga problema tungkol sa corruption dito.
Lim believes the alleged corruption in the agency is the reason why traffic remains troublesome in Metro Manila and other areas in the country.
Ano ba yung ugat ng problema? May gumagawa ng pera. Hindi naman maglalakas na mag-drive ng kolorong vehicle yan kung walang kausap yan o magpapark dyan o magkaano ng mga pwesto sa sidewalks na hindi dapat. May mga nakikinabang dyan.
Lim says he will conduct an inventory first of equipment, personnel, contracts, and other transactions of the MMDA.
Go-audit tayo. Nang sa ganon, not necessarily to run after people, magdiin ng tao, but I would like to know where I'm starting from.
Lim also vows to clean up the ranks of allegedly corrupt traffic law enforcers. Aside from corruption, the new leadership of the MMDA also vows to prioritize resolving the problem on traffic in the country. Lim promises as well not to implement various traffic schemes but to tighten the existing traffic laws.
Mag-uumpisa tayo dyan, not with fancy solutions, not with complicated and fancy schemes, but let's go back to basic. Balik tayo sa nararapat. Basic. Ano yan? Basic implementation of the rules, enforcement. Let's develop a culture of discipline. Nang sa ganun, bumalik yung order.
Lim is a former Deputy Commissioner for Intelligence of the Bureau of Customs under the Aquino administration from 2011 to 2013. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue, Makati City.
The Department of Education will begin next week its yearly Oplan Balik Eskwela. Alongside the program is the launching of DepEd's Command Center. Aiko Miguel will tell us why.
The Department of Education is now ready for the yearly Oplan Balik Eskwela on Monday, May 29. Alongside the opening of the program is the launching of DepEd's Command Center in its main office in Pasig that would answer queries and complaints of parents and students.
Mag-o-open na tayo ng command center natin as early as 6 o'clock. Tapos meron tayong interagency conference, command conference on the 30th na nandito nga yung different government agencies as well as private sector. Ang layunin kasi nito is to address yung mga concerns.
UNTV News was able to talk to Imelda, who was at the main office of DepEd worrying over the late enrollment of her grandchild, a grade 1 student in the upcoming school year. She learned that the Caloocan-based school where her grandchild studied in kindergarten has no permit from DepEd. Because of this, her grandchild still has to undergo evaluation examination in DepEd instead to get a learner's reference number or LRN. LRN serves as a proof that DepEd recognizes a student and for him or her to be able to transfer school.
Dapat po pala bago pa po dumating ang graduation ng bata, makikipag-ugnayan na po sa school, mga nangangasiwa ng school. Hindi po kagaya ng kung kailan na po nandoon, tsaka na po mag-aayos sa mga requirements.
This is why DepEd calls on parents to prepare all their requirements before the end of May.
May permit to operate ba yan? 2, ano yung dapat nilang mga bayarin para hindi sila nabibigla. Basahin nila kung ano yung mga palatuntunan, patakaran ng paaralan nito. Number 3, hinihingi yung ating birth certificate. Yun ang ebidensya kung anong edad ng bata. Dapat maghanda tayo. Maganda tayo doon sa ulan, sa baha, doon sa mga binabahang lugar.
The Department of Education is expecting for around 25 million students from kindergarten to grade 12 to enroll this school year 2017 to 2018. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Pasig City.
The Trade Union Congress of the Philippines, or TUCP, will file a petition for a 184 peso increase on daily minimum wage of workers. The labor group said such demand is but reasonable with the increasing prices of basic commodities and high inflation rate. TUCP estimates around 4 to 8 million minimum wage earners in Metro Manila will benefit once the petition is granted. In the next 3 weeks, the Wage Board will conduct consultations before it comes up with a decision. The labor group is also asking for 500 pesos subsidy from the government to pay for the workers' utility bills.
Bakit tumulong ka sa pag-unlad pero ikaw na manggagawa nananatiling mahirap? So ito ang dahilan kung bakit humihingi kami ng dagdag sahod at humihingi kami ng government subsidy.
Employees who got into an accident while on duty but were not able to receive insurance may seek the help of the Compensation Commission, an attached agency of the Department of Labor and Employment. Aiko Miguel will tell us why.
The Department of Labor and Employment, or DOLE, has received a recent complaint from employees whose insurance claims they submitted to 2 social insurance programs were rejected. One of them is 56-year-old Susana Bonode from Buwak, Marinduque, who experiences urinary tract infection and hypercholesterolemia, while Erlinda Isican from Baguio City is diagnosed with spinal arthritis and coronary heart disease. They developed health problems while doing their job, thus they are hoping to get what they deserve from the insurance program they applied. But they were rejected. These are some of the problems that the Employees Compensation Commission, an attached agency to DOLE, is attending. Under the Employees Compensation Program of the ECC, the government will help employees who cannot claim their insurance from existing social insurance programs in the country.
Since it's a social insurance program, merong fund ito para pangbayad sa compensation na kailangang ibayad dun sa nagki-claim. So ang nagbibigay ng premium para sa social insurance program na to ay mga employers, hindi po mga empleyado. Kaya siya hindi nakikita sa ating yung payslip.
The ECC is responsible for giving aid and studying the financial assistance employees receive in the event they contract diseases, illness, or disability due to the nature of their job.
Nagkaroon ka ng sakit o nagkaroon ka ng injury or accident because of your work, then you have to apply or claim with the implementing agencies of ECC. Ito po yung SSS kung ikaw ay private sector worker at GSIS kung ikaw naman ay government worker.
ECC also calls on employees with problems on their insurance claims to immediately come to the agency's office.
Kung may nangyari sa iyo na work related on the first day pa lang, kahit na hindi ka pa nakabayad ng premium mo, ay covered ka na under the Employees Compensation Program. Pwede ka na mag-claim.
The ECC is also available through their Public Assistance Center at 028967837 or email at pac@ecc.gov.ph. Complainants may also visit their Facebook page, Employees Compensation Commission. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Makati City.
6 overseas Filipino workers in Russia are scheduled for repatriation. Philippine Ambassador to Russia Carlos Soreta says the said Filipino workers hold expired visas. However, the embassy made arrangements with Russian authorities to not charge them provided that they will not be working anymore in Russia. Meanwhile, 17 OFWs detained by the Russian government last week because of having problems with their visas. However, with the intervention of the embassy, the OFWs were then released.
Ang Filipino naman po dito, mabait. They work hard. They don't call attention to themselves. So we were able to get a number of them to stay, to be allowed to stay. Then a number of them, the visas were shortened. And then 3 are for deportation. Pero without penalties, walang kulong.
There are around 5,000 Filipinos in Russia and 90% of them are household workers.
Supporters of Senator Leila De Lima launches a signature campaign calling for her freedom. Manokson will tell us why.
The Free Leila movement is targeting to gather 1 million signature for Senator Leila De Lima's freedom. One can join the campaign through personal signing or through online via the change.org website. The group believes that they can influence the decision of the Supreme Court through the signature campaign.
Pag nakita nila na marami ang nananawagan na palayain si Senator De Lima, ay maaring mapigilan ang desisyon nila na naayon sa kagustuhan ng administrasyon.
The group says all the testimony of the witnesses against De Lima are fabricated. The group connects all the persecution against De Lima to her continued criticism on the government's war on drugs. The movement adds that statements from foreign groups such as the Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, and European Union show that charges against De Lima are an outright case of political persecution. The group believes that there is also a pressure for Lieutenant Colonel Ferdinand Marcelino to testify against the senator.
Kami din po naniniwala din kami na he's under pressure to testify, Senator De Lima. And sige, go on. Kasi alam din po namin na wala rin na hindi niya po maidiliin si Senator. Ginagamit lang po talaga siya.
Meanwhile, Solicitor General Jose Calida said in a statement that there is no truth that the case is tainted with political persecution. These are just a manifestation of the government's political will to go against narco-politicians. It has been 3 months when De Lima was detained at the PNP Custodial Center due to cases allegedly connected to illegal drug trade. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Department of Justice will leave it to the court to decide whether to allow Senator Leila De Lima to attend Senate sessions. Justice Undersecretary Erickson Balmes says De Lima is now under the jurisdiction of Muntinlupa RTC and it's up to the court to decide on the matter. DOJ is also studying the laws and the prevailing jurisprudence so they can comply in case the court asks further comment. De Lima is asking permission to participate in the deliberations and voting on important bills, including the reimposition of the death penalty. She is facing 3 counts of illegal drug trading before the Muntinlupa RTC for her alleged participation in the Bilibid drug trade. 4 police in Malabon were arrested yesterday for kidnapping and robbery extortion. Meanwhile, authorities are still searching for 7 more police officers. Grace Casin will tell us why.
4 Malabon police are now facing robbery, kidnapping, carnapping, and planting of illegal drug cases. This after the family of victim complained to the authorities that their relative Norma, not her real name, was abducted by 10 policemen after she visited her boyfriend at the Bureau of Correction compound in Muntinlupa City. Suspects demanded 2 million pesos for the family in exchange for Norma's freedom. But after the negotiation, the ransom money was lowered to 1 million pesos. The suspect were identified as Senior Police Officer 2 Ricky Pelicano, PO2 Wilson Sanchez, PO1 Joselito Erenio, and PO1 Frances Camua, while 7 other suspects remain at large. The 4 police officers have been relieved from their duty pending the filing of criminal cases against them.
Ang 4 po ay naresto natin sa lugar ng Northern Police District
After we were able to identify that the victim, Ms. Norma, was in their custody since 20 May 2017.
Meanwhile, the lawyer of the victims denied the allegation.
Si Sanchez was working doon sa Malabon Police Station when the CITF arrived and arrested him. The other three, habang nasa district NPD yung Sanchez, no? Tinawagan yung tatlo to report sa NPD for siguro report ng status ng kaso. Upon arrival sa NPD, arrested na rin sila ng CITF. Pero there is no such thing as entrapment.
The PNP are now searching for 7 other policemen who are also involved in the incident who are still at large. The PNP chief is willing to give reward of 2 million pesos each for those who can give information on the whereabouts of the suspects who are still at large, dead or alive. Grace Casten, UNTV News and Rescue, Camp Crame.
The Philippine National Police requests the transfer of Police Superintendent Rafael Dumlao III to the custody of the Bureau of Jail Management and Phenology, or BJMP. Dumlao is one of the accused in the abduction and killing of Korean businessman Ji Ik-ju. In his motion before the Angeles City Ortiz Ranch 58, PNP Custodial Center Chief Police Superintendent Arnel Apud says Dumlao should not be given a special treatment. He adds that transporting Dumlao from Quezon City to Pampanga every time there is a court proceeding entails unreasonably excessive expenses on the part of the government. The PNP official further says Dumlao should be transferred to a BJMP facility in Pampanga. Dumlao is facing kidnapping, serious illegal detention, and carnapping charges. The Bureau of Customs, or BOC, has installed high-end X-ray machines at the Manila International Container Port. Maki Libradilla will tell us why.
The Bureau of Customs says X-ray machines are essential in examining the contents of a cargo, especially since BOC personnel are prohibited to open balikbayan boxes. For this reason, the agency has installed a high-end X-ray machine at the Manila port for inspection. The machine has a 3D feature which can provide a more detailed image of the contents of a shipment.
Ngayon po, may capability na rin kami. Parang hindi na rin namin talaga siya bubuksan. Maayos din talaga ang coordination ng Bureau ngayon. With our intelligence group, yung enforcement group namin, X-ray.
Just recently, a shipment that contains allegedly smuggled second-hand vehicles from Oakland, USA was detected at the Manila International Container Port with the help of X-ray machines. The shipment was declared as household goods and personal effects, but upon opening, authorities saw big bikes and luxury vehicles.
Nung na-X-ray na po natin to, nakita po kagad sa image na may hugis po ng kotse at saka 3 motorsiklo.
The BOC says the shipment was owned by returning resident identified as Efrel Lopez. The said vehicles and motorbikes are estimated to be worth 3 million pesos.
Ang problema dyan, may kaukulang parusa yan. Pag natuluyan yung kaso at talaga siya ay napatunayan nagkasala, mahina ang 3 taon na pagkakakulong dyan hanggang 6 na taon. Bukod pa dun sa tinatawag na penalty o fine.
The confiscated vehicles are placed in the custody of the BOC while the investigation is still ongoing. Maki Libradilla, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Supporters and fans roared at the Pasig City Sports Center last Sunday in a battle tagged as the Game of the Generals. Bernard Dadis will tell us why.
Wild shot is good.
6 generals and 9 PNP colonels made outstanding performance to upset BOC Transformers on the opening day of UNTV Cup Executive Face-Off last Sunday. Police Director Camilo Cascolan, Directorate for Operations, Sub-Director Benjamin Lusad, and NCRPO Director Oscar Albayalde led the PNP responders, together with Police Chief Superintendent Philip Phillips, Police Chief Superintendent Rene Aspera, and Police Chief Superintendent Clifton Empiso. The responders dominated the first and the second quarters and showed their discipline and coordination in their defensive play in third quarter to limit the Transformers with only 6 points to increase the lead lead by 38 points, 64-26. Coach Kenneth Duramda's team attempted to catch up in last quarter, but with endurance and teamwork of the PNP, the game ended with 82-37. Police Superintendent Dexter Vitog of the SAP was named the best player of the game for making 17 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 steal. Police Senior Superintendent Israel Dixon and Police Superintendent Peter Limbawan made the combined 30 points.
We just play the game and siguro sabi nga is winning is just second for the love of the game itself, no? But of course we came here to win.
Nakakatuwa nga at lahat nagsasama-sama. At least nakikita namin kung paano kami maglaro as a team. At the same time, siguro pag maganda ang teamwork namin dito sa opisina, magiging maganda rin ang teamwork.
Even PNP head coach Eric Samson admired the dedication shown by PNP responders.
Nagpupunta sila sa ensayo. Very willing sila, very willing. Kaya very cooperative yung mga opisyalis.
The PNP are overwhelmed that they become part of UNTV Cup. They prepared for the executive face-off for 2 months. Despite of their busy schedule, they try to take part in the trainings to showcase the unity of the Philippine National Police in helping fellow men through the League of Public Servants. Bernard Dandis, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Those are the reasons behind the news, May 23, 2017. I'm Angelo Castro III.
Reasons we delivered to you as they unfold. I'm Darlene Basingan.
Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Thank you for watching. Why News.